After recent events, it seems that some people require a reminder on what bodily autonomy is. But before we get into that, let's talk about rights and ethics. At its core, rights are meant to give you the right to live freely without infringing on someone else's rights. For example, when swinging my arm, my rights end as soon as my fist touches the other person's nose. That is one of the chief concepts of rights. The right to expect that no one will harm you without a very good reason for doing so. Ethics is the study of right and wrong, good and bad, permissible and impermissible, and the general consensus is that it is wrong to physically attack someone, with a few exceptions such as self-defense. If someone is punching you, you have the right to punch them back with the intent of stopping them. However, your right to punch them immediately goes away once that person is no longer a threat to you, whether they were dissuaded from attacking you, or are rendered unconscious, or whatever. Basically, you have a right to your life and your body, but you do not have the right to decide what happens to others' lives and their bodies, just as much as they don't have a right to decide what happens to yours. In addition, everyone has the right to expect not to be attacked out of nowhere on the street, and has the right to self-defense should that happen and someone oversteps their boundaries. However, although you have the right to life, you have the right to not be physically attacked, you do not have the right to expect others to save your life at the expense of theirs or their bodies. You do not have the right to determine for someone else what is good for them and what is not. That is their own personal determination, and the freedom to make that individual determination is essential to giving people determination over their own lives and their own bodies. That is the core of bodily autonomy. Yes, I know I used the word determination many times just now, but that word is important. I'm using it to refer to the right that we should all have to decide our own lives. Self-determination is applied liberty. Bodily autonomy doesn't just mean you have the right to expect safety for your body, but also that you have the right to accept or refuse medical treatment according to your own knowledge and values, with medical experts when available, being there to inform you of your options and advise you on which would help you achieve the outcomes you wanted. Furthermore, it means you are never, ever obligated to pay any price that involves your body parts, or a risk to your own safety or body on anyone else's behalf, not even to save their life. An individual who cannot swim, and in fact even one who can swim, is not obligated to rescue a drowning person, with a few exceptions such as lifeguards who voluntarily agree to take that risk should it arise. When it comes to bodily autonomy, the rules, whilst not necessarily clear in all cases, get a lot more strict. Because bodily autonomy is generally considered to be the paramount of liberty, as it is one of the most, if not the most important right for an individual to have. You are not obligated to give blood, not even if your blood is the only blood that can save somebody's life in time, and even if you are perfectly eligible from a medical perspective to give blood safely. Morals aside, you are never obligated to share any part of your body with anyone you do not want to share it with, even if that means that individual will die. Healthy encouragement to consider doing so? I've given as much blood as I could until I was disqualified for medication I need. I'm an organ donor, and I want every ounce of useful tissue put towards saving lives or medical research. I hope you do too, but you're not a bad person if you don't. Because bodily autonomy applies for organs after we die. You have to opt in to being an organ donor, even though donating your organs can save lives. And I do encourage those comfortable doing so to sign up to be an organ donor, but we do not exhume people to harvest their organs, not even to save lives. We do not go on a harvesting spree just before someone is cremated. So, just to recap, we can all agree that 1. Your rights end when you infringe on someone else's rights. 2. That you have the right to refuse medical treatment. 3. You are not obligated to risk your life or body parts to save someone else's. And 4. You are not obligated to donate your organs even after you're done using them. We can all agree on that? Then why is it this all goes out the window when we talk about a pregnant person? Why should pregnant people be bound by law to continue a pregnancy that they are unwilling to maintain? This says something pretty awful about how society views pregnant people when we find it repulsive to take away control of someone's organs when they die, but think it's fine to force them to use organs on another's behalf while they're alive. Of course, there's a lot of discussion to be had on when personhood begins, and when someone should be legally recognised as human with full rights and considered a unit of society along with those already walking around. Unfortunately, all those wells have been poisoned to hell and back because none of that is actually relevant to abortion, and yet conservatives keep trying to use these discussions to frame people who get abortions as murderers. So let's get one thing straight. No, someone getting an abortion is not murdering an unborn child. They are simply refusing to continue a pregnancy they do not want or can't go through, for whatever reason, and that is a right they should have. The right to rescind consent to be pregnant. Conservatives, however, do not see that as a right. In fact, conservative talking points regarding abortion can get really, really fucking gross. They often imply that consent to have sex is consent to potentially get pregnant. I don't even know where to start with how wrong that is. The right to express sexuality is a human right. You do not get to tell other people how to make those life choices, and, thanks to contraception, people have more power to sexually express themselves without risking making life choices they do not intend to make. And also, even if the person wanted to get pregnant, then they should still have the right to withdraw consent to maintain that pregnancy. Many conservatives also bring up late-term abortions to justify banning abortions altogether, and that is such a bullshit point even by their standards. Late-term abortions are very, very, very rare, because most people are either unwilling to get pregnant in the first place, and therefore at the first sign of pregnancy they'd get an abortion right away, or they intended to get pregnant and the pregnancy is carried out up to the baby is born. But in some extremely rare cases, something might happen to make pregnancies either non-viable, or the pregnant person had to abruptly withdraw consent to continue the pregnancy for one reason or another. Sometimes, these reasons might be sudden financial hardships, or a sudden change in environment that becomes unsuitable to have a baby. But in most cases, it's because of medical circumstances, such as something that might make the pregnancy dangerous, or even deadly to the pregnant person, and in many cases, the baby as well. Which brings me to my next point. The people demanding an end to abortion don't actually care about the children, even though the children are their pretense for their entire position. George Carlin pointed out in an Immortal Comedy routine that the same people who demand an end to abortion do next to nothing to support people after they are born.
Boy, these conservatives are really something, aren't they? They're all in favor of the unborn. They will do anything for the unborn. But once you're born, you're on your own.
In fact, any analysis of their politics indicates that those trying to end abortion just want to control the masses, and to reinforce the idea of reproductive duty. They want a massive pile of poor people to exist so that the rich can sit on top of us. They know damn well that their material greed requires an ever-growing army of labour that they can exploit with diminishing wages, whilst using just world fallacy propaganda to blame poor people for their own poverty. And oftentimes, anti-abortion advocates undermine this goal, but also simultaneously make another infringement on bodily autonomy by performing forced sterilizations on people who try to get abortions or who would rather have abortions. That doesn't sound like protecting the next generation to me. That sounds a lot more like control, like eugenics. And since they also think that pregnant people are all women, you can bet they don't care about trans identities. In fact, plenty of them who advocate for an abortion ban also advocate for the banning of transition for trans people. Boy, for a group that claims to care about rights, they sure love infringing on the rights of anyone that isn't them. Oh, and forced abortion is just as much a crime against bodily autonomy as forced pregnancy. So the transphobe Posey Parker, who said that trans men should be sterilised, literally advocating for taking away reproductive rights based on the crime of feeling a certain way about their bodies. Literal fucking thought crime eugenics from someone who pals around with multiple white nationalists who are claiming that trans people are a Jewish conspiracy to eliminate white people. a conspiracy theory that motivated a young adult to commit a mass fucking shooting after driving 2 hours specifically so that his bullets would land in black bodies. I cannot stress enough that we are all in this together. This is all related. The killer cited the rhetoric of the fucking LGB alliance. Murder is also a form of violating bodily autonomy. I am fortunate enough never to have been pregnant, comatose, or seeking to medically transition, but I still practice my right to bodily autonomy every single day. I have chronic mental illnesses, specifically OCD and ADHD, and every time I wake up, I take medication. Each time I take that medication, I am making a decision with my own body and mind to medically intervene on how my neurochemistry would operate if I did not take that intervention. And I have had people tell me that this would change who I am on a level that would be wrong to do. I have had people tell me these pharmaceuticals are just a big scam to sell more pills. But I personally have lived through taking this medication, and I have lived experience of what happens when I do not take this medication, which is why I have decided, for the life I want to live, this medication is necessary. It takes away experiences I don't want to have, and replaces them with experiences I do. OCD, in my case, gives me very vivid and distressing mental images on a near continual basis. I am a captive audience to my mind's own construction of things that would belong in a horror movie while I am trying to maintain a normal conversation. If I went off my meds, this would be a background noise to my life. And it was so miserable that I legitimately contemplated whether or not I wanted to keep living if this was the kind of existence that I had to look forward to for the rest of my life. And then a college therapist recognised what I was describing and fast-tracked me to get on medication that has since put those intrusive thoughts under control. They're not completely gone, but they're very much managed now, as in, now it's one every few days, or maybe several a day if I'm stressed, instead of almost every moment of my life. My life feels like it's now worth living again, now that I am not continually being tortured by my own fucking brain. And then I log on to tweeters.com, and lo and behold, some autism mom posting a picture of a forest saying that this is an antidepressant, and medications like the one I use are just bullshit. Imagine if they got to make that decision for me. I would be dead, or so miserable I would often wish for it. And I'm not saying that everyone with OCD should take medications, because for some people the medications have side effects that are worse than the symptoms, or the symptoms can be managed by other means. What I am advocating for is for everybody to have the freedom, both legally and socially, to pursue whatever means of medical intervention they need or want, as well as to reject those that they don't need or want. And for everyone to get to make that determination for themselves based on how they feel in their own bodies, rather than what others deem to be better for them. Bodily autonomy is one of the core issues of trans liberation, and of feminism generally, and it's also a core issue of intersex liberation. The right to have your body modified according to your needs and emotional state is one of the central struggles of trans liberation, and the right not to have your body modified without your consent is the primary concern of intersex liberation, because intersex people are often subjected to invasive, unnecessary, and largely cosmetic surgeries when they are literally infants. And yet, the same people who are trying to take away abortion rights are happy to have those same babies mutilated if they turn out to be born with ambiguous genitalia. They're happy to make up excuses to deny trans people access to transition, especially puberty blockers, claiming they care so much about children, and often creepily talking at length about that person's ability to have orgasms in the future. And then they turn around and talk about trans people's sexualities as if they are demonic perversions, some kind of sickness or degeneracy. You've probably noticed how I've been saying pregnant people throughout this video. If this bothers you, I have news for you. You are either a conservative asshole or a gender-critical asshole. AKA either someone who admits to not care about feminism, or someone who claims to care about feminism and is yet more concerned about the language used in this video rather than the underlying issues the abortion ban brings with it. So to you, I have this to say. Not all people who get pregnant are women. Trans men also get pregnant. So do many non-binary people. Saying pregnant women excludes these people who are not women, yet they have as much to lose with these bans as cis women do. So if you're unwilling to ignore this fact, if you're unwilling to let go of your ridiculous ideology, then please bear this in mind. If you are a feminist, abortion rights are an absolutely critical category of rights. If you are a feminist, you have to care about people who need abortions, most of which are cis women. If you claim to be a feminist, you can't go palling around with the fucking Heritage Foundation, which is trying to eliminate abortion rights, along with eliminating marriage equality, laws that prevent trans people from obtaining necessary medical care for their mental and emotional well-being, all while downplaying, if not doing nothing, about the ongoing human rights abuse that is intersex genital mutilation. You can't idolise someone who has a history of defending overt white nationalists like Jean Gariepi and Tucker Carlson. The former a self-described white nationalist, and the latter someone who was extensively cited in the manifesto of a mass fucking shooter. If you care about women, you care about the women who were shot, or lost loved ones, or people they relied on in that attack. If you care about women, that should include black women and other women targeted by racism, and show some fucking effort to rid your movement of racism. If you are a feminist, and you consider abortion rights less important than policing inclusive language, hating minorities, and deciding for intersex people before they can even consent, then I have news for you. You're not feminists, you're LARPers. Bodily autonomy is a human right, and it is a core human right. For as long as we inhabit our bodies, we should have absolute control over what happens to our bodies. We should never be obligated to give up organs or parts of our body for someone else's benefits. Not even if it's a mild inconvenience to us, or if what's at stake is somebody's life. As such, I don't care if somebody's reason for wanting to get an abortion is as frivolous as they don't want stretch marks. I do not fucking care. A pregnant person is a person before they are an incubator for somebody else. And if they want to opt out of sharing their body with another person, they should be able to do that at a moment's notice. Access to safe, legal, and affordable, if not free abortions, is a core human right because bodily autonomy is a core human right. This video is getting sped through production because we only just found out that the United States Supreme Court has plans to overturn Roe v. Wade, and there is significant indication that they're coming after marriage equality too next. And trans people have been screaming at the top of our lungs to try to get people to pay attention, because this is exactly what we have been predicting. We have been telling you for ages now that transphobia is a gateway drug to other forms of bigotry and other means of supporting the patriarchy, as evidenced by Julie Bindel palling around with the literal fucking Heritage Foundation, which we've noticed when J.K. Rowling has dedicated her entire career for the past few years to transphobia, calling herself a feminist, calling herself seriously invested in how biological sex dramatically impacts people's lives. But she's been strangely quiet on the whole Roe versus Wade leak. She's been mysteriously quiet about reproductive rights, most of which are needed predominantly by cisgender women, the kind of people she claims to support, and even trans men, whom she sees as women. I say she's been quiet, but what do you know, she's finally opened her mouth, after being called out, and she's barely said anything. J.K. Rowling, you are such a joke. Transphobia is the feminism of fools, and conservatives and the people who want to control women's bodies and female reproductive autonomy are the same ones arguing in favour of transphobia and encouraging or bolstering transphobic movements that call themselves feminist. To whomever leaked that document from the Supreme Court, I understand you put so much at risk by doing so. We know that if you're caught, you will probably go to prison, almost certainly lose your job, and quite possibly never be hireable ever again. We know what risk you're taking, and we want to say we salute you for your bravery. You have given the American people a chance to take direct action before politicians subvert the will of the people. This is something that we can't vote out, because the way that the legal system is structured is not actually to give power to the people. It is to give power to politicians, particularly those who are happy to accept corporate dollars and religious super PAC donations. But direct action is possible. Show up, protest if you can, spread the news, and do not let abortion rights go quietly into the night.